Hi, I'm Dharya, and I'm here today to show you the step-by-step process of making a cake. This is going to be a very detailed video, and I've divided the entire process into simple steps so it's easier for you to understand. Let's get started. This video is going to be all about decorating, so I've already made the components. For the base, I'm using my eggless vanilla cake sponge recipe. Find the recipe on my channel. Also, I'll be using my 3-ingredient eggless buttercream to frost this cake, the recipe to which is on my channel. I like to work my way up, so we'll start by cutting the bottom layer. Keep your knife straight and start by marking along the circumference. You can see that I'm not moving the knife, just rotate the cake to mark it. While still keeping the knife straight, move it in a chainsaw manner while slowly rotating the sponge. This will give you a straight layer. For the top layer, we'll repeat the process, removing only a thin layer from the top to minimize the wastage. Remember that it's easier to cut sponges which have been set in the fridge for a while. The sponge should not be fresh or straight out of the oven. Don't move the knife a lot, keep it straight and move in a chainsaw manner. Rotate the cake, not the knife. For the layering of the cake, we'll start by securing the bottom layer of the cake with whipped cream so it doesn't slip off. I'm soaking my vanilla sponge with milk. I've added vanilla essence to it. It's very important to correctly soak your sponge because you don't want it to remain dry. On the other hand, over soaking will make the cake soggy. Remember that the milk might reduce the shelf life of the cake a bit. If you want, you can replace it with water. Let's start by putting a layer of whipped cream. One thing to keep in mind is that the cream should be evenly distributed. Now, with the palette knife, I'm smoothing the top. Remember that you don't need to apply any pressure. You don't want to move the cream, just make the top smooth. Carefully place another layer of cake. Make sure it's not tilted or on the side. The amount of soaking that goes in depends on the type of sponge we are using. In this, I'm using 25 to 30 ml of liquid in each layer. Always apply even pressure on the piping bag while filling so that the filling is even. With the light hand, make the top smooth. Repeat the process for the rest of the layers. Straight layers will always result in a straight cake. The filling should be stable enough and not ooze out while layering the cake. It should be evenly distributed so that the layer on top is not tilted. If you soak the cake too much, it will turn soggy. I'm using eggless buttercream to crumb coat the cake. Start by applying cream on the sides. Make sure to fill all the gaps and fully cover the cake. Take the excess cream out using a scraper. Always hold the scraper at a 90-degree angle for straight edges. After that, we'll crumb coat the top using a palette knife. Spread the cream till the edges of the cake and remove the excess. During the crumb coat, we have to make the cake as even as possible for a neater final product. After the cake has been covered with cream, our goal is to remove the excess cream. Make sure to fill all the gaps with cream. After crumb coating it, we'll chill the cake for minimum 1 hour to let the frosting set. Use minimum amount of cream to pack all the crumbs inside the cake. After crumb coating the cake, chill it well to let the flavors get soaked in and for the frosting to set. After the crumb coat has set nicely, start applying the frosting evenly on the sides. After the sides have been fully covered with buttercream, let's start with the top. Using a palette knife, spread the buttercream till the edges of the cake. Use extra cream if required. After the cake has been roughly covered with buttercream, we'll smoothen it out using a scraper. Always hold your scraper at a 90-degree angle for straight edges. The sides of the cake are pretty smooth, but it has some gaps, so we will fill it with buttercream. At this stage, use minimum amount of buttercream to fill the gaps. Use a scraper to smoothen the cream out. After the sides have been done, we'll start with the top. Using a palette knife, remove excess cream and smoothen the top out as much as you can. The excess cream has made the sides uneven, so we will remove that using a scraper. Repeat the process for a smooth top. I'm using an offset spatula to make a spiral design on top. Keep it at a 45-degree angle in the middle of the cake. Start by slowly rotating the cake table to form the pattern. After the final coat is done, keep the cake in fridge for 10 minutes. Make sure to apply the cream evenly. Always hold your scraper at a 90-degree angle. In winters, if your ganache or buttercream sets too much and becomes hard to work with, dip your palette knife and scraper in hot water. Let's start by practicing on a plate first. If you're a beginner, make sure to go slow and make one shell at a time. Hold your piping bags at an angle of 45 degrees. For the next design, I am making a cursive S with the piping tip, but this design is optional and you can just make the shells. Let's start with piping on the cake. I'll use a cookie cutter to mark the sides where the piping will come. Make sure to not move the cookie cutter up or down while marking this. You can also use a small bowl for this. Always make one shell at a time and don't rush the process. First, the shells will face a downward direction and then an upward direction. Repeat this process to cover the sides. After covering the sides, we'll move on to the top. While still holding the piping bag at an angle of 45 degrees, make one shell at a time. Make the same design at the bottom. Using a small piping tip will make shells on the edges. Using the same piping nozzle, I am making a cursive S design at the bottom. If you want, you can also make the shells. Mark a small circle on the top. Continue to make small shells. I am putting some pearls to give the final touches. I really hope you found this video helpful. I'll see you in the next video. Happy baking and bye.